All right, everybody can hear me. Happy Halloween, everyone. And this is Jessica Alstrom, and I decided that I was going to do an impromptu live question and answer on YouTube this evening while I'm waiting for the trick or treaters to come show up at our house. I have been getting questions constantly, and for a while there I was doing a live Q&A once a week until we got really busy. Obviously, we're in the middle of opening and launching a whole new a new model of business that is a real old school slash quantum apothecary. And we have our quantum fitness, our training, biohacking training systems opening pretty much all over the world now, which is pretty exciting. So I wanted to just jump on here when I had a little bit of time and answer some of these questions, especially since we are in October. This year has been harsh, to say the least, at least energetically, as far as where we have all worked really hard to get to versus where we sometimes believe we are, right? I have been referring to this year 2022 as the rude awakening. And with that, I'm just making sure that we're live. Sometimes YouTube likes to not let me in. Here we go. Mm-hmm. See if I am live here after all. All right, I can't see you guys, but let's see. All right, I'm just gonna go for it. I can't see, but that's cool. We'll just hope for the best. Hopefully, you guys can see this big knife going through my head because this is all just illusion, and we're making all this up. In another timeline, I could literally be walking around like this and be like, "What's up?" It's not even hurting. Okay, so I want to jump into these questions, but if you're seeing me for the first time, I teach the philosophy of alchemy through the understanding of quantum mechanics, quantum biochemistry, epigenetics, and all different types of energy medicine, psychology, early childhood development. I like to keep the toolbox as big as possible because a carpenter doesn't just use a hammer. And we are at the stage of our own evolution where we might have to be more like an ER doctor than a surgeon that has the time to practice and prepare for surgery. We are literally showing up in the moment, and all of our skills that we have become practiced, become experienced in, are all being tested this year. This year I've been referring to as the rude awakening. The rude awakening is really about you having a solid introduction to your unconscious. And I think for the last maybe 10, 20 years, we've been studying heavily the subconscious. And we thought, okay, that's it. Wow, we know who we are. We are the childhood. We're a little bit of, the genetics, the lineage, but really we've gotten down deep into the collective unconscious mind, the unconscious body, the unconscious collective this year. And it's been a very personal experience for everyone to go through their own unique unconsciousness. Unconscious is not just below the surface. It's not, it's not snorkeling, guys. It's the abyss. And in the abyss, there's not a lot of light, right? There's not a lot of understanding. There's not awareness. It's cold. It's dark. It's the cold shoulder. It's where the graveyard of the past is, that is still lingering. The stuff we thought we've cleared this. How is this coming up again? And as this kind of resurrects this unconscious graveyard of all that we have been, all of our unfinished business in the universe is surfacing. Now, if you look at where we're heading, that's sweet. We need this to happen. We don't want to build on a wonky foundation within. We don't want to build over an Indian burial ground, right? We want a clean slate. We want to have access to our potential, right? And we don't want our potential muddied with our lack, our limits, our old outdated belief systems, our patterns that are still haunting us in relationships and money. And that's not going to be a fun way to build this new world that you guys keep hearing about, right? So if you look at 3D as kind of hell on earth, right? And it is the idea of duality. It is a constant duel of self. Duality is the constant duel. It is constantly having to face and face off. It's constantly having to lose something to get something. It's constantly about rising and falling. It's constantly about dealing with loss or the expectation of loss, especially in the neighborhood of love, right? Love has become your biggest jail cell. It is where your obligations, your commitments, your voice, your authentic nature is somehow has to be hidden in the name of love. And that is what a dualistic environment looks like, where it's kind of kill or be killed. Even in nature, there's a very dualistic experience going on, right? There's a hierarchy, there's a top of the food chain, there is a masculine and feminine presence, there is lack, there is abundance, right? There is hungry, there is full, right? There is tired, there is awake, there is sun, there is moon. And on this dualistic experience of nature that we have landed on, as we are integrated into duality, we have to experience the contrast of that to really begin to identify what it is we are, who we are, what we desire, what we aren't, right? The best way to know what you want is to know what you don't want. Right? If you've never been hungry, you wouldn't enjoy food the same way. Okay? So there is a purpose to mastering duality. There is, even if it doesn't make sense to you in your present circumstances. But where we're heading as a collective is into non-duality. All right. So duality is the third dimension. The fourth dimension is the shadow, the walk, the shadow of death. It is your unbecoming. It is your integration. It is your experience of healing. It is your experience of becoming more aware of different aspects of yourself. It is closing doors. It is opening doors. It is resurrection. It is death. It is loss. It is gain. And on this walk, which has been the fourth dimension, the bridge, it is going to take you into the understanding of creation in non-duality. All right. And non-duality is a non-dual environment. It's win-win. It's this and that. It's I get to play and have money. I get to have a healthy body and be able to play, right? I get a family that actually loves me, right? So, I mean, a lot of us can't even contemplate not having to lose something to get something. Even though we've always had a trigger around that concept, we've all adapted to the philosophy of the third dimensional collective. Regardless of what resistance you have, regardless of how it has been abandoned and rejected you in your time, we have all bought in to that third dimensional concept. Now, most of us have been on some part of this 4D bridge that are moving into the threshold. So 2022, this idea of this meaning is about foundation, right? It's dualistic face-off. It is understanding duality. This is why it's been such a rude awakening. Because up until now, we were born into the light, we got thrown into the dark, we descended, we went all the way into the ego, then we rised into the awakening, we went into the love and light space. We learned all about ourselves, our Akashic, our star languages, our past lives, our star families, right? The whole cosmic aspect of ourselves. And we were feeling pretty high. And then the pandemic hit and we were like, whoa, we are human. What is happening? Like my freedom is being tested. My health is being tested. My life is being tested. My family is being tested. And you've been being pressurized because basically in order to be a non-dualistic human, which becomes the superhuman, you have to experience both sides of this coin. So the de-ascension, the re-ascension becomes choice, right? The only way that you could ever make a valid choice is if you experience both sides. And when you move into 5D, it is all about choice. And when you realize that you're not free to make some choices, when you realize that you don't have everything you need to be totally free, or you're not able to create those relationships or that income that your heart already feels it owns, it has, it is, it can be really frustrating. And so now that we're in this like October spooky season, it is like this opportunity to reevaluate some of the lost, darker parts of ourselves that we can utilize in this concept of non-duality. So every year I teach a master class. It's small, it's intimate, it's extremely vulnerable space. We all tell the truth in this class. We are all on this journey together, and this 2020 year has been the year of alchemy, or the mastery alchemist class. And the idea of alchemist, or being an alchemist, is one who integrates all of me, the different aspects, the ones with the mask, the ones without, the love and light, the one that knows God, the one that doesn't know God, the one that's still afraid, the one that has powers, the one that doesn't have money, right? There's different aspects of you that are awaiting your integration. And anytime there is a space between what you are and what you want, then there is a piece of you missing. So you are one complete abundance puzzle. You are one complete puzzle of freedom. If for some reason pieces are not clicking into place, time, relationships, health, money, if they're not clicking into place, it means that there is still a space between you and the aspect of you that is in and owning and already become that aspect or that part of you, right? So trauma, we've been talking a lot about trauma this year. It's becoming mainstream. Thank you, right? Good. It gets in everybody's frontal perspective. Now, regardless of what you think of trauma, I see it as a situation where you are disempowered. Okay. Now, when you become disempowered, it's just like your tires hitting a pothole and your tires become imbalanced. Trauma creates imbalance, and usually pressure kind of kicks one piece of you out of place. And that can create a separation. And anytime there's a separation, the universe will use some sort of plasma, some sort of paste, some sort of glue, some sort of pus, some sort of identity to buffer the space between you and you. If there's too much space between your inner child and your higher self, if there's too much space between your lowest self and your inner child, the universe will create with you some sort of buffer, okay? Because you cannot function without all of you. So if you feel separate from you, you'll be needy, right? You'll be codependent. You'll have cravings. You'll have urges. You'll be experiencing lack. You'll experiencing loss. Because ultimately, when you alchemize all of yourself, nothing will be missing. I think it, I want it, I have it, I got it. We've all heard that TikTok, okay? That's 5D. But because we are learning how first to come home to ourselves, then we have to start working with that self to manifest within. And as we learn to manifest with the masculine and feminine within ourselves, we realize that our beef with the other genders out into the world, our so-called collective pain that we have around me as a woman with man or vice versa, is not a war that I'm facing outside of me. It's a dualistic imbalance within. And if I am too much masculine because my feminine has been damaged, that is an imbalance that will create in the future lack, no matter how hard I work or how good my work ethic is. If my divine feminine is wounded, then I am going to be protecting that somehow with weight on my body, weight out in my life. I am going to have walls of protection. I am going to have not boundaries, but walls in between me and the things I say I want, because the things that I wanted have hurt me. And this is the definition of duality, guys. So as we are sitting here on this playing ground of our dual nature that we're sitting in right now, there is a non-dualistic planet as well that we can step right into at any time. This year is your pressure cooker to get there. Because this year, you're learning how to use your darkness, your limits, your lack, your heartbreak, your rejection, your abandonment as fuel or fertilizer. That's what you're learning. You're learning that you're not going to get away from lack, that you're going to start using it. You're not going to get away from rejection. It's in every part of your life. You're going to start using it. You're going to start using lack of abundance to create abundance. You're going to start using lack of freedom to invent some new freedom. Because this is what happens in a dualistic space, is it creates genius. It creates a new desire to be more of yourself. So in this non-dualistic space that we're moving into 5 and 6D as a collective, and social media is helping. Trauma is a mainstream topic now. We've got people in 3 minutes dancing, telling everybody that they're trauma specialists, and this is the mother wound and this is the father wound. And I am saying hallelujah, because the more information that you can become aware of, that you aren't just who you are, that you are you with shields and masks and scars and knives in your back, and a bat to your kneecap, walking around trying to save the world, you're going to realize that until you heal some of those things that made you bleed, you are going to bleed on other people that don't deserve that. All right. So when we come back to ourselves and we finish up this integration of the mind, body, and soul, which means everybody in this family is on the same page, then I can start living a non-dualistic life. And that is what the Buddha was talking about. This is what the resurrection of the second coming is all about. This is about us stepping into the new gospel of saying, it's this and that. I can be this and that. And this generation below me, in my kids are now deciding whether or not they even want to identify as a gender. Great. So they are teaching us that our dualistic nature that has kept us divided yet safe is silly, and that their feelings are the most important navigator that they have. And they are teaching us this. So when we ask, it's always given. But if you're not in a vibration to receive it, then it will go to another potential awareness that is. I've taught you guys for years that anytime you have a great idea, it goes into the cloud. And in the cloud, just like the internet, someone with the same intention or vibration can pluck your genius idea right out of the cloud and invent what you could not take action to do. Right? That's not fair. Well, someone with a hearty, physical, masculine presence that can take action can do that. So this coming year is really going to be about focusing on these questions that I've been getting. The questions that I've been getting is, number one, what is 5D money? Okay, and how do I create 5D money? So not only will I be teaching you guys this in the non-duality masterclass coming up, but I will be demonstrating this, because what we will do is we will take the fertilizer that you think is stopping you, and I will prove that the fertilizer that you think that is stopping you from joy, abundance, freedom, and love is actually fuel. It is actually your growth opportunity. Then you'll start working with the negatives as if they were the positives. And it's really cool. So I thought what I would do is I would answer these questions. All right. And of course, I have them all written down so I don't lose my train of thought. All right. So the idea of 5D money is completely different rules than 3D money. 3D money, I have to give something to get something. Okay. I have to work really hard. I have to go without. I have to be paid below my worth, and I have to appreciate it. I have to be very grown up and responsible. There's no time for my inner child. And I have to be selfless if I am going to be successful. All right. I also have to be the best at what I'm doing. Perfectionism. I have to know the right people so I can have the nepotism. I have to not be the black sheep. Okay. And if I decide to choose a fun life over a hardworking life, then I have to go without a lot of the fun that is available out there, right? So that's what we've all been indoctrinated to. Now throw on some religious beliefs in there and some other collective beliefs about what women are paid, what men are paid. Okay. Let's throw in some other collective beliefs about having to have a college education. You see, so the beliefs against you truly being able to make a ton of money in 3D or abundance. I won't say money, I'll say abundance, because abundance is the ability to do what you want to do when you want to do it, with whom you want to do it, how you want to do it. That kind of incorporates all forms of money or energy that helps you create. All right. So this idea has been literally, it creates an aspect of you. If you have a generous, loving, empathic, sensitive heart, it's going to be very difficult for you to play the 3D money game, because you might get lost in 3D and have a powerful career, but your system isn't built for that world. So you will burn out and either get disease will stop you, you'll hurt your back, right? Your body will end up stopping you from going all the way into 3D money, because that's not why you're here. You're here to be a professional paid child. You are. Okay. That's why I could go on YouTube with a knife in my head, because why not? Right? So the idea of 5D money is the counter opposite. And I have taught my clients for years, when you are stuck, play the duality game. What's the other side? What am I feeling? What's the other feeling on the opposite spectrum of this? Okay? What am I supposed to feel the opposite when I feel bad? And how do I turn a bad into a good? Right? We've been playing the duality game in my classroom for many years. And as we step into non-duality, we will not be practicing anymore. We will be using the dualistic nature to create non-duality. So here is the formula. Now, hopefully, did my phone just die? No, it did not. Okay. All right. So in order for you to create 5D money on this planet, as we move into non-duality, you cannot play with the same playing cards as the Matrix. Okay, you can't follow the rules, which you've never been good at anyways, and you've never been able to really deal with authority. So this is going to be a relief for you. Okay, and this isn't even about love, you guys. I mean, at the basis of who you are love. And I remember listening to the old school money tapes, the Bob Proctor stuff, where he was like, you got to have a good, generous, gratitude heart. And I tried that and I didn't get any money, because I just kept giving it away because I was so grateful, right? And maybe I didn't understand the concept, but as I have been leading this year with my inner child has been teaching me about the dualistic nature of the dark and the light, and how they are both essential for the new gospel or the new world that we're building here. All right. So in order for you to create 5D money, your left and right hemisphere of your brain have to be balanced. First, like that, the fundamental part is that your masculine and feminine have to be working together. The feminine has to be the inspiration. The masculine has to be inspired by her. And you got to create some babies. And your babies are your manifestations. All right. So the formula is that if you are in a woman's body, all right, and you are leading with 60% feminine, 40% masculine, then the nature of divine feminine as a creative moneymaker, or as that freedom of creative abundance, right? Her job is not to chase, but to attract. All right? She is here to be the energy. You're welcome, right? She is here to be an inspiration to herself. Her job is to inspire her own masculine within. And her own masculine within will then have inspired action, which means I will have a thought, I will have an idea, I will get so turned on by it that I will act it out. And through that acting out, I will inspire people, places, and things to act it out with me. And I am now creating abundance. 3D is I get inspired about an idea, but I don't have the money. I don't know how to do it. My masculine doesn't think we can really do it without this person or this investor or that person. So we go and ask for help, or we try to do it by ourselves, but end up failing. And the only reason why is the reason why you don't have the motivation and you're sitting in procrastination, or you're dealing with perfectionism, is because your masculine and feminine energy is not balanced within. So the first thing that we're going to be doing and this is the first thing we do in all of our biohacking, is we balance your masculine feminine energy. Because when that is balanced and there's a happy home inside of here and mommy and daddy are happy, then lots of babies are made and there's money to take care of them and there's a beautiful house to live in and there's lots of things to play. And the bigger your family get, you leave a legacy and a lineage behind. If you're listening to this, then you have been assigned a very important task to your bloodline. You are the one who is here to break generational trauma. You are here to be the black sheep that ends the pain cycle that has been ripping through your family for probably thousands of years. Now, you may be like, well, they're not really my family because I'm from the stars. It don't matter. You're in the body. You claim the blood. You claim the ancestry. And therefore, it is your responsibility to stop this pain in its tracks, which means that you're going to feel like you don't fit in. You're going to feel like you are not seen, heard, appreciated. You might be the outcast of your entire family. You might be responsible for a war going on in your family, or at least feel like you are. You might feel like a fraud. You might feel incapable. You might feel like out of all the people in the world, of all the good things you've done in your life, your family does not see and hear it. If you are in that story, you have been chosen to break the trauma bond that has been cycling and ripping through your collective space for as long as this story's been going on here. If you've been chosen, you're probably feeling separated from your family, either emotionally, physically, or chemically, and they have not been there. But, guys, your family is your fertilizer. You are a seed. You're not supposed to be shit. You're supposed to grow from it. Okay? You're not the same. You have been brought forth to break the chain, to break this. And the only way that you can break that is to be so different and to be so sensitive and to be so unlike anyone else that through your own experiences and choices that you teach by example another way to be, even if it takes a few generations. You have been chosen. If you are not acting out this part right now, your kids are catching up to you. Your kids are doing this for you. But it really is your job. If you're in my generation in your 40s, okay, maybe a little earlier, maybe even at that 50 mark, you've been chosen. And the reason why is because you're hurt enough. You're hurt enough to choose you. And when you choose you, you separate from the blood, and therefore now it can be cleaned and purified. All right? Blood transfusion is your responsibility for your entire blood. All right? Healing you heals them. Focus on you. Use them as fertilizer, right? Deal with the emotional impact of the separation and the mommy and daddy story, and it's not fair, and what's the point? And get back into your first purpose, which is to break your family trauma. All right? Your second is to become so abundant and to become so free that people want to study your every move. They don't want to read your book. They want to watch you do it. All right? So your first responsibility of 5D money is to never chase it, not to beg for it, not to plead for it, and not to work too hard for it. To become so aligned within your own masculine feminine that it does the work inside of you, creates an electromagnetic spark between the sun and the earth that connects into your pineal gland, and that pineal gland energy creates to the cosmic Wi-Fi and radiates and vibrates what you desire into your perspective. The actor creates the scene create the co-stars then are creating the props and the story that you act out. You are the byproduct of the heaven and the earth, and therefore you are both electromagnetic, and therefore you are one big fat magnet. Okay? And because you are a magnet and your blood is got tons of metals in it, then what it is you are, what makes your blood boil is attracted to you, and what makes your heart catch on fire is attracted to you. Because in the universe that is playing the bank in your life is non-dualistic. So it's using everything as a hell yes. I'm in lack, I'm broke, I'm suffering. Universe is like, hell yeah, get it, girl. Act that out. Really work that angle until you're done with it. Until you're done suffering, we're going to keep throwing you some more lack. Okay? So do not chase, attract. All right? Number 2, understand that it is supposed to be win-win. So most of you are thinking about how you're going to get what you want, but someone's going to have to be punished. Someone's going to have to suffer. Something's going to have to go wrong. I'm going to have to leave something. I'm going to have to give something I don't want to give. I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to have to take something. This is your contemplation when you're sitting in your desire, because you're coming from a collective belief system that you're basically a comfortable slave. But in 5D, it's always win-win, which means the very thing that you desire the most is going to heal everything that you think is going to create pain on the other side of this, okay? Your next rule of 5D money is the 80-20 rule. 80% play, 20% adult. Sign checks, do the due diligence, stock the shelves, right? Make the arts. 80% play. Because the vibration of excitement, the vibration of play is actually the same vibration as abundance. Working hard is the vibration of lack. So the more you work, okay, then the more you have to give up something in 3D. So some of you have made that $1 million in corporate America, you sensitive empaths. Guess what? I guaranteed you got some sort of disease or body issue out of it. Your health was replaced. And now the money you made was spent on the health, and probably now you're breaking even because your brain's balancing. All right? 80-20 rule in 5D. If you're not living an 80-20 rule, you're playing in 3D money. All right? Posture, practice, prepare, play. This is my formula for 5D money. Posture means, what character am I being? What state of being am I projecting to the universe? And then my job is to practice, prepare, and play that out. Act as if, which means that I will practice with the shit that is in my lap, regardless of what it is. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't here and go practice something else. I'm going to practice using the lack that I'm sitting in to create abundance. All right? The next one, why is my phone doing that? I don't like my energy being this high. All right, the next one, no abundance means that you are too abundant somewhere. I really need you to hear this. In 5D, when you are not getting abundance, it means that you are too abundant somewhere. This is why the first biohacking question I ask you guys is, what do you have too much of that you don't want? And what do you want that you don't have any of or enough of? And the reason why is because we're moving into non-duality, and I'm getting your bodies ready to think differently about abundance. We live in an abundance of lack, okay? So when you are too abundant in something, the universe thinks that you are too full, so it stops the ebb and flow of certain aspects. If you have too much grief, if you have too much lack, if you have too much resentment, if you have too much fear, if you have too much stuff, if you have too much belief systems, if you have too much arrogance, if you have too much of anything, the universe will start removing things to create balance. Because if you become unbalanced, then you move into suffering. So the universe will help you, your universe within, will help you stay balanced. So sometimes the way that it will help you with balance of time is to take money away to even it out. You've got to be aware that if money isn't flowing in, if opportunities aren't flowing in, if stories aren't coming in that really bring you alive, inspiration's not coming alive, you're stuck in depression, you're stuck in anger, think about, what am I too abundant in, and what can I let go of? Do I need to let go? Like, we call it the purging system. Like, what do we need to purge to make space for what we truly are, right? Because when we do not believe that we are worthy, we try to get stuff to make us feel worthy. When we don't feel loved, we try to get someone to love us. But now we're just stockpiling things that don't really feel like love, okay? So the next one is, what you resist, you get. You know this one, guys. Resistance does not mean I don't like. Resistance means avoidance. Resistance is another word for fear. Resistance is disassociation. Resistance is criticism. resistance is ignoring, it's omission, it's ridicule, it's guilt, it's shame, it's humiliation. Okay, it's lack. So resistance is not just like, well, I'm not resisting her, she's just a pain in my ass, or I'm not resisting my job, it's just not what I want. Yes, you are. If you're not using it, if you're not using your shitty job, if you're not using the shitty partner, if you're not using your shitty situation as fuel to become unlimited source of creative energy, then you are in resistance of it, and it is actually using you as fuel. It backfires. All right. The next one, there is only yes in the universe. So if you're saying no to something, it's got a hell yes at the back end of it, and the universe still rolls with your no as a yes. Okay. Now, this is the formula for 5D. We're going to be really diving deep into this masterclass of non-duality in 2023. You can start your registration process for, it's a year long. We teach once a week. We let go of holidays here and there. It's not like, crazy, but we usually teach about 48 weeks a week in that class. And each week we're moving collective moment by collective moment of the non-duality process, just like we have been in alchemy. We have been collecting these pieces of all of me and putting ourselves back together to create a whole puzzle. So now we can start using the shit that we've been sitting in as fuel, because the stuff that's happening to me isn't separating me from myself anymore. The stuff that person is doing me has not much to do with me. It is just, it's awareness for me to build my bridge into where I choose to be. All right. So these are like the major questions that I get. What is biohacking? What is 5D money? I'm here. How do I get to here? I've been literally asked this question for 12 years. I'm here, Jess. How do I get to here? Well, you build out a bridge. You build the bridge out of your walls. The very walls that you are hiding behind have got to lie flat, and your job is to walk over them. Call it the shadow of death, the walk through the shadow of death. You're going through it regardless if you do this class with me or not. If you come to a biohacking center, you're still walking the plank. All right. You're not getting out of this if you are a sensitive, aware being. Now, if you're not a sensitive, aware being, you're not listening to this, and you're not in the stage where you even have met your bridge yet. So you're still in the third dimensional reality of fighting to keep three-dimensional reality, keep the religious process, keep the old money system, keep the governmental system in reign. You're still desiring that. Now, if you're listening to me and you have friends and family that are fighting for the third dimensional world, just realize that they will, in their own time and in their own way, pressurize just as you did. When you get sick and tired of being small, when you know you are the whole universe, or hiding your bigness, then you start this journey. And yes, you lose friends, you lose family for a time. But I will promise you, once you fully integrate to 5D and you become the alchemist, all of me, and you work with your body's energy, okay, not against it, when you work through it, right? Not through a surrogacy of your job or a bank or your partner. When you truly work with your energy field, there isn't anything that you can't create. And in that space, we will create a brand new world inside the third dimensional collective. It's literally like you are the mushroom growing out of the fertilizer, and you are this kind of, you're welcome, right? You're going to be the medicine that is growing out of it. You're the multi-dimensional aspect of what happens with death and rebirth cycles, because that's what a mushroom is growing from. It's literally growing from fertilizer, and you are that aspect. And isn't it funny that mushrooms are the same shape as the masculine tool, right? Why? Because we're growing it. We're growing it from the seed of our own womb, of our own mind, from our own collective, from our own choice. All right? So tonight's Halloween. I just wanted to come through and give you this little quick broadcast. get these questions answered once so I don't have to answer them 100 times, and let you know that we are wrapping up our alchemy class. And if you weren't able to be a part of that class, it is still available archived. If you feel like you're not ready to go into the non-duality space with us, go ahead and take the alchemy class. It's all there in your own time, in your own way. But we're registering for 2023, the non-duality masterclass, where I will be teaching you how to take everything that you think is lack, a limit that is broken, that is wrong, and I will show you how to build a ladder, a bridge, a cannon, money, time, health, a relationship out of it. Because you are magical and you've always known this. You just were using your magic in your meditations or in your sacred spaces, and then the rest of everything else was just ugh. But that's what we're going to be using in non-duality, because you're going to be professional superhuman, which means you're going to be okay here with laundry and bills and kids and stuff happening. You're going to be able to grow out of all of this. So if you're interested in working with me in a non-duality platform, okay, then check out my website. Look for a button that says work with me or upcoming classes, fill out some information on it, and just get some information about the breakdown of the year, and invest in working with your own inner balancing. The greatest investment that you could give yourself is to balance your own self. Not to heal. Healing is a bullshit concept. The only reason we ever have to heal anything is because we have to create a balance, because the body knows how to heal itself when it is in balance. All right? But if you are not in balance, you may need a crutch or a broker or a middleman to help you balance for a while. That's fine as long as it's just a crutch. Right? It's not about having therapy for 30 years. It's about learning the tools of non-duality and taking a practical application in your life so that your holographic experience here is fun. All right. So think about it. I keep telling you guys that this is like a video game. All right. Now imagine that I'm sitting on my couch with the joystick, A and B, right? Ooh, I get to, and you're inside this computer, or myself is inside this computer, and it's the archetype of me. I've created the skin, I've created the world, or at least I've been put into the world, and it's got all these rules. But I have control of where I go in this world. I don't really care if that character dies because it's just an archetype, but I'm having fun in this world. But all of a sudden, my character gets traumatized inside the game, and it bumps its connection from me, who is playing ABAB, away. And now my archetype is sitting in the game going, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And I'm like, how come my joystick's not working? Hello? Hello? I'm hitting reset. I'm causing car accidents. I'm causing all kinds of things to get your attention so that you will pay attention to me so we can reconnect. And what you're doing inside the game is you're walking up to people and saying, do you love me? Will you help me? Will you give me a job? Because I don't know who I am. And so you have been out there building these relationships with other archetypes that may not be connected to their higher selves. And then you're running around blaming each other for when the life doesn't work. The most important relationship that you should be working on is the one with me. And I don't mean me, but the you behind the veil. Your most important relationship should be the one of reconnecting this. So from a higher platform of knowing that this is just a game and not taking any of this seriously and having a super fun time, we can connect and I can intuitively guide you through the game to win. Or trauma can keep you separated from me. I can keep trying to get your attention through car accidents and money problems and body problems, because that's the only way that you stop asking for, someone to love you out there, or working real hard to get somewhere out there that you'll never get without me. Rebuild the relationship with the other side of you. Realize that you're in the game. Make it fun. Work with the negative aspects as if they were your greatest coal or fuel. Right? If Santa brings me coal this year for Christmas, which he may, I will use it to heat my home. Right? So understanding this idea of non-duality is about reconnecting to all of you. And most importantly, the masculine and feminine connection that will create all the babies that will be happy and healthy. All right. So if you're interested in working with me, look me up on Instagram, DM me, Facebook, reach out to me, my email. My website is jessicaalstrom.com. All right. Find a way to connect with me. I'm not like really integrated on all my websites and stuff just because I'm here teaching and living. But if you're destined to find me, you will find me and connect with me. There will be a registration button for this class. It is year long. It's got to be. And it's going to be super fun because it's going to be live action. We're going to be taking every single thing in our own lives and we're going to be creating fuel out of it, which means by the end of the year, you'll have your empire, you'll have your legacy, you'll probably own things you never thought you would own that no one can take away from you. All right? So hopefully this helped on some part of your journey. And if it has inspired you to take inspired action, then look me up and let's work together so that we can create heaven on earth. My goal is a big playground with lots of people on the playground. All right? Because being a professional child is super fun. And it just makes every day an opportunity to create more inspiration for the world, more understanding, and more opportunities to play. All right. Happy Halloween from right in the middle of the country of USA. And I hope to see you guys soon.